Hi, my name is Laura Lynn. I'm the Nutrition Resource Manager here at Long Island Cares, back for another food bank bite for the month of April. And today we are going to make a one-pan zucchini frittata, and we're going to get started. Okay, so we have some nice red onion here. We get a lot of fresh produce donated into the food bank, so we're going to start with a red onion. And for frittata, you know, when you're using eggs, it's kind of delicate, so you want to slice things nice and thin because you want that flavor. You want to taste it, but you don't want really thick to bite into vegetables. You're eating vegetables, but you want them light on the palate. So it's kind of nice to, a little bit of onion goes a long way. So I'm going to slice some nice red onion up in here. And you don't need a fancy muley or fancy shredding utensil. You can just work very slowly with a nice sharp knife. You don't need a fancy kitchen gadget, right? So I'm kind of just shaving it down. I've done this a few times before, so I can get it nice and thin. And this is a red Bermuda onion, lots of allicin in here. This helps keep your blood flowing from platelets sticking. So onions are really wonderful for the heart. Just a little nutrition tidbit there. So I kind of just layered them as I sliced them, as you saw. Just cutting them up nice and small. They'll be thin. They kind of cook down in the pan. They get a little translucent, but they release a wonderful flavor. Doesn't matter what kind of onion you have on hand. We got a lot of red onions donated to the food bank, so I'm using red onions today. You can use yellow, white, whatever you like. So I'm just gonna put that over here. I'm gonna do a little bit more. We have about 6 or 7 eggs for this recipe, so I think I'll just do a little bit more. I love onion, and when it cooks down, it kind of gets a little sticky. This has some sweetness to it, so this is going to be really nice. And I usually stop right before I start crying when I'm cutting onions. Okay, so we have a lot of extra onion here. You can wrap it up, use it for another recipe. All right, so we're just going to push this over to the side. All right, and now I'm going to slice up the zucchini. So we're going to take the top off the bottom. All right. And I kind of cut it lengthwise first. It makes it a little easier. Zucchinis kind of roll, any vegetable that rolls like that, and it kind of creates some stability when you cut it lengthwise, put it down. This way it's kind of stable when you cut it. It's not rolling around. So I like to do that. And then I'm going to slice it again lengthwise, because again, this is going to be a frittata, like an egg, almost like a souffle. So you kind of want it some nice thin pieces, because eggs cook very quickly, right? So if you cut your vegetables really thick, then what happens is, you know, your eggs cook quickly and the vegetables don't, and then they're really kind of raw. So we want to cook the vegetables. We want to keep the nutrients in. We want them to retain their nutrients. We don't want them to be watery or limp or really overcooked, but we slice them thin enough so that when you're cooking them in the eggs, they'll cook just the right amount. So they'll release a little water, but not too much, and they'll be a little cooked. They'll be al dente, or just to the tooth. So all these little things, you know, sometimes you don't realize after cooking for a long time and trial and error, you find these things out. Recipes don't always tell you those things. They don't always say, you know, what I just said about the water and slicing them thin and still wanting to have that non-overcooked feel in the frittata. People make frittata with potatoes also, same thing. Even if they're raw potatoes, you don't have to cook the potatoes before. You just have to slice them really thin. And there's no need to peel the zucchini because the skin is very thin, but yet it offers a lot of fiber. So we want that. We don't want to lose that fiber. And plus it looks great. And the green looks great when you have it against the yellow eggs. So we just take our time and slice these up. I'm gonna do another one. And zucchini and onions, you know, they cook down, they kind of disappear. They're one of those vegetables where when you cook them and you slice them thin, they get very translucent and they disappear in your food. So they're mild, they're nice, but yet you're getting the benefit of having the taste and the nutrition, the good nutrition from them. So kind of another trick that I do when I slice vegetables or move them around on the board, I kind of like to flip the back of the knife over so that a lot of people will go like this and move the vegetables over, but the problem is you dull your blade. So it's very easy just to flip the knife over and push them aside. You kind of extend the life of your blade when you're cutting, because there's one thing you don't want to cut with, and that's a dull blade. You'll cut yourself more easily with a dull blade than a sharp blade. Okay. So I think that's gonna about do it for our recipe today. Okay, so I'm gonna move over from the board where I cut up my zucchini and onions. We're gonna move over to the pan, but before I do that, I'm gonna get cracking on some of the eggs so that we can make our mixture, because the zucchini and the onions will cook fairly quickly, and then I will have to pour the eggs in. So I'm gonna use about 6 or 7 eggs, and we're just gonna crack them here. I think our pan is nice and hot. I seasoned it with a little olive oil, some salt and pepper. Just gonna turn this down while I mix up these eggs. Okay, so our eggs are ready. Our pan looks nice and hot. I'm going to put about a tablespoon of butter. I like to use butter and olive oil together because the mixture of the two keeps the smoke point down. So I'm going to do that. Kind of combine this a little bit here. All right, we're going to put that down. All right, and now I'm going to put the onions. Put our onions in. And we're going to put our zucchini in too. All right, and we're going to mix it up and cook it all together. We got a great donation this week of some beautiful feta cheese. So I'm going to add that as a special treat today into our frittata. So normally I would just do the zucchini and the onions, but we have a wonderful cheese donor every month donates a couple of pallets of cheese to us, and the agency members just love it. They get the cheese from us on the donated menu, and they give it out to their food pantry clients, or they use it for cooking in the soup kitchen. So we are going to add some cheese. So I'm going to let this cook up, turn this up a little bit higher, not too much. Cast iron pan holds a lot of heat. So again, we don't really want to overcook these vegetables. We just kind of want to make them a little tender. And then we're going to add the eggs. I'm going to pour in the egg mixture. I have the heat on about medium, so I'm just going to put it a little lower. And I'm going to pour this in here now. Okay, and then I'm going to mix it up a little bit. Just a little bit, so you can see everything kind of comes together. I'm going to take the heat off of here. I'm going to turn this off. And then I'm going to just move this right in to the oven. So I just mix this up so we kind of get an even, so the zucchini and the cheese is kind of spread out. The onions are kind of all spread out. You can see that here. So that looks absolutely wonderful. Okay, great. So I'm going to take this. I don't think the handle's too hot. If you are using cast iron, the handle can get hot. I'm going to put it in the oven, so I'm going to use my oven mitt. And I'm just going to take this and put it right in the oven. And we're going to put that in there for about 10 minutes or so. Okay, so now I'm really fast. It's been 10 minutes and the oven did all the work, and I'm going to take it out now. And you know, it's like a little souffle, like it's nice and puffy and nice. I tested it with a butter knife to make sure that the inside, that the center was fully cooked, and liquid didn't come out. So good 10 minutes. It's perfect. It looks really good. So can't wait to taste it and dive in. Love eggs, love zucchini. This is nice. So I had some of the, you'll see I had the olive oil and the butter, and I kind of, seasoned the pan and greased it a little bit. So this is like just gonna fall right out of here. That's kind of like the beauty of cast iron. You know, things don't stick as much in a cast iron pan as they would a non-stick pan. All right, wonderful. It's just coming right out like that. Delicious. As you can see, there's no sticking in the pan. It just comes right out, and you have your zucchini frittata. All right, so I'm gonna just take a taste. All right, so let's see how it came out. That is good. So thanks for tuning in to our Food Bank Bites. We're gonna have more of these, and we hope you tune in for some yummy stuff.